Y'all ever woke up in the morning on 10? That's how I am this morning. I wake up on 10. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to bite somebody's head off. My mind's racing through all the things that have been done wrong to me, all the BS I go through, all the fluff stories that people giving me to get me to buy into whatever ideology that they could just tell me what it is and we can go from there. We ain't gotta play no games about it. But this morning I'm in one of them moods. So as I'm talking to y'all, I'm gonna try not to curse because I'm gonna get a call from my mom if I start cursing or whatever. But I'm gonna try not to curse. But like I said, have you ever woke up in them moods where you on 10, man? You just ready to flip out on somebody. You just ready to bite somebody's head off. You ain't got no smile on your face. I don't really want to be bothered with what I'm bothered with this morning. You think about all the negative crap that you been through, going through, whatever. Well, that's one of them mornings for me this morning. So I'm trying to get that out of my system this morning before I get around people. Cause I don't want to be that way around people, but sometimes you might need to be that way around some people, especially the ones that's selling you that bull, the BS that they sell you, or treat you like you less than. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get that out of. But I'm gonna tell y'all, I was scared the other night. I saw something coming, and I was like, oh my God, man, this is, you know, I don't know what this is. So I'm out back in my shop, working on a recreational vehicle for a customer, and I hear a noise that sounds like a diesel truck. In second nature, I said, man, my truck sounds like that. Sounds like a diesel truck. I got a diesel truck. So it sounds like my truck, right? And then I open the shop door and I look out the shop and I see some lights on a truck with lights on top of it, like a rollback or a tow truck or something like that. And my mind immediately jumped to, man, somebody car. They about to snatch my car. They about to snatch my truck. That's a snatch man. And if y'all don't know what a snatch man, then y'all always had money or always knew how to handle your money, knew what to do with your money. But I know a certain point in my life, I ain't had a lot of money to know what to do with a lot of money. So the snatch man that came to visit me once. He came to visit, but I sent him back on his way. But anyway, I saw that and I was like, man, I know they ain't coming to get my stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, why you worried? All your stuff paid for. It's old anyway, so ain't no reason for him to come try to be the snatch man tonight, you know. But it just triggered me to think about the times that I was there, the stuff that I did go through during those times, when I didn't have any money or didn't have, responsibility to do what I was supposed to do. And, then you think about the people that ain't never had to experience that. It's somebody out here that doesn't even know what a snatch man is, never heard of a snatch man, ain't had to hide their car from the snatch man or none of that. So if you one of them people, man, I feel you. I've been there, but we've grown, and think about that growth. We've grown from that to do bigger and better things. So that led me to another question popped in my head, like, do bullies ever grow up? Or do they always remain bullies? I mean, I don't know, because the bullies that were in high school with me, they didn't bully me, but I've seen them bully other people. I'm not really in contact with them now, so I don't know if the bullies ever grew up. And if they grew up, what did they grow up to be? Did they grow up to go to college or get jobs or are they bullies in their jobs, or they still trying to boss people around and tell them what to do? Or do they grow up to not be bullies anymore? What age do you stop trying to bully people? Well, I do know a guy right now that still tries to bully people, and if he can't bully you in the way in what he wants you to do, then he gets upset with you. But I don't really care about that. But what age do bullies really grow up? I don't know. Y'all know any bullies? Let me know what age they grow up, or what age they grew up. Getting back to the story though. I didn't always have a great job. I didn't always have, any money. Really ain't got no money now. But for the story I'm telling you, when I was in college, I went to one school that was paid for scholarship wise. I didn't enjoy it, so I left. People talk crap about me because I left and I didn't know what I was doing, what I was thinking, and I transferred to another school that I had to pay for. But I had more happiness and fun in that school that I had to pay for than I did at that school that was paying for me. And for me, in case you already noticed, I enjoy happiness. I enjoy fun without having to go through a bunch of BS. So as I'm paying for this school and people think, I've always been, on the up and up. I've always had this. He never had to go through nothing. I'm here to tell you that's a lie. I've been through a lot. Just because I don't make it look like I've been through a lot doesn't mean I haven't been through a lot. But I've been through a lot. I can remember days in college where, I was hungry, but I swore I wouldn't move back home to be a burden to my mother or have my mother help take care of me in the summers that I was in college. So, I tried to make a way, become a man on my own. So I stayed summers and worked, but I can remember that first summer I stayed away from home. You know, me and my roommate, we lived in a hotel apartment. It was sponsored by the school, but we still had to pay rent and pay all that. So I had to work a job. First of all, ain't nobody really want to hire me. You can't get no good job as a college student to pay for nothing. Seem like that's coming back for adults now with today's economy. But you couldn't get no job to pay for enough money to pay for nothing when you was in college. So I'm working my butt off, just trying to make it, trying to stay, trying to grow. Try to become something. So I'm working every day, and I can remember one time, man, I was so broke. 2 days before payday, I didn't have no money. I didn't have no food. I didn't know what I was gonna do. But you gotta be intuitive. You gotta kind of just, do something. I know some people that probably went out and robbed somebody, stole something, but that ain't my character by nature. I ain't never wanted to do nothing like that to survive. Glad I ain't never had to do nothing like that to survive either. I ain't, wasn't gonna sell no drugs because that wasn't what I was going for. That wasn't what was in my mind to do to become. So it's 2 days before payday, and I ain't got no money. I ain't got no food as I'm searching my little, you know, hotel room area. And we didn't have, a place to have like food and stuff. We shared like a kitchen, but I didn't have nothing to cook either. So I looked down in my little cabinet area and I got the end, those two pieces of bread that don't nobody want, the front end and the back end that everybody done pushed out of the way to get all the main bread in the middle. Well, all I had left was them two pieces of bread, the front end and the back end of the bread. I said, man, ain't got no meat to put on this sandwich. What I'm gonna do? So at the time, I liked barbecue sauce, and I liked syrup and honey. So in the little fridge in the area, there was some barbecue sauce and there was some honey and syrup, right? So I got 2 days before payday. I got two slices of bread that nobody wants. I have no meat, but I got barbecue sauce and syrup. So now I got a decision to make. Do you eat both pieces of bread and try to figure it out the next day and be hungry the next day, or what do? You eat one piece today, one piece tomorrow, and it's just plain bread. But I tell you what I decided to do. I decided to take the barbecue sauce and put it on one piece of bread that day. I folded that bread up and ate the barbecue sauce sandwich like it was a hot dog. Ain't nothing in the joint but barbecue sauce and bread, and that's what I ate that one day to try to survive. I go to work the next day trying to drink as much water as I can to make it so I don't get hungry, that day. So I just ate that barbecue sauce sandwich. Now, the day before, payday, ain't nothing left but that other back end piece of the bread and the syrup you put on your toast. I mean, syrup you put on your pancakes. So you guys already know what I did this time. I put the syrup on the butt end of the bread, folded it up, and ate me a syrup sandwich. Drank water all day just to try to make it through. To get paid on payday. Now I ain't even got to the point to start talking about how much gas I got in the car. 'cause that thing gonna eat too. I'm like, man, do I got enough to make it to work? And then when I get paid, you gotta go cash a check them days. So do I have enough to make it to the bank to cash my check? And do I have enough to make it to the store to get some gas after you cash the check? But I did. I had enough to make it to work, had enough to get my check. I went and cashed my check, went and filled the car with gas because I had to. If I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to go to work. And then I go to the little apartment place and I pay something on my rent. Yeah, I said something on my rent. 'Cause like I said, them little checks we was getting, man. I mean, you talking about making at that time probably less than $7 an hour, and I know my rent was like $800 or more, so I ain't really had no money. And then people would call me and ask me like, you know, I ain't talking about nobody. They was just trying to figure out what was going on. They my support system at the time. They felt like I was in the big city working, so I was making big money and doing this and doing that. But that was far from the truth. I'm just trying to make it. I would get calls like, "What are you doing with your money?" What do you mean? What I'm doing with my money? I'm I'm working, trying to pay the little bills, trying to figure out a way how to come up. You know. So once they understood, he ain't making no money, man. Then they said, "Well, you may as well come home." Man, do you guys know how hard it would have been mentally for me to come home? To go home to my mother and not be able to make it on my own as a man. I know people don't care about none of that these days, but I really cared about it, back then. I worked my whole way through college, you know. I can remember like I ain't had no money for books. I ain't buy no books. My mother had back surgery, she couldn't work. I ain't had no money for books. So I had to finagle my way through, learning what I can learn, without books. I went to this was my MO one time, man. I was playing football in college. So we get up and do football workouts in the morning, go to class that day, go to practice that evening. I get out of practice, I go to my first job. First job at 7. Coach talking trash because I'm missing meetings. They were voluntary meetings, but coach talking trash because I'm missing meetings. But I'm trying to work, still trying to make it, man, to do the same thing that everybody else is doing and fly under the radar of notice, so would nobody really be in my business about what's going on. I had one job from 7 to 11, next job from 11 to 4. I get all work at 4, get home by 4:30. I go to sleep 4:30 to 6:30, wake up, have practice from 7 to 8, and go to class, man. And I did that for about 3 months. 3 months. So can't nobody tell me, when it's time to go get it, you can't make a way. And I know my mama gonna say, "Well, God made a way." He did make a way for me to get my butt up and go do all those jobs that I was gonna do. But like I said, man, I woke up this morning ready to bite somebody's head off, ready to say Faunicate the fecal matter to a couple of different things that's going on to a couple of different people. But I'm gonna say I appreciate y'all for being my outlet this morning. I appreciate the homeboy hangout for being my outlet this morning to keep me from knucking and bucking and ready to fight this morning. And that's a verbality. We're just throwing it out there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool now. I'm eased up. My mind is ready to go for this beautiful Friday weekend. Get ready to have a good time. Put my feet in some sand. Enjoy some beach water. Enjoy some beach food. So hey, man, no matter what you start off like, you can finish up as different as you wanted to be. Peace. Humble hangout. Out.